essays for people who started doing this like 14 years ago, almost more than that, right? And we're thinking of trying to understand how the people in America, US, they started this whole startup culture and they boomed it after 10 years of successful entrepreneurial thinking. And we want to learn a lot from that, and we hope that translates well into developing nations, and developing nations like ours, like Nepal's. And then hopefully that can help. So based on that, today we're going to discuss a lot about the essay by Paul Graham on his website, paulgraham.com/bronze.html, which is titled "Why Smart People Have Bad Ideas." So this essay was published in April 2005. This was like 14 years ago, and they're still, and this was like the first time they started doing the Y Combinator summer seed funding camp, or it's more of an event these days. They do it in winter too, but then this summer camp was started so that they could understand how young people, at the time Google was a really company that was funded by young people, started by young people,
grad students, right?
Yeah,
Google and Yahoo.
Yeah, and then now if you look at Google, it's like a monster. And when you look at that modality, they've helped so many companies, and wanted to know how that kind of modality helps in Nepal, because Nepal's in a similar situation, right?
Right.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. First of all, the link to the essay will be given down in the description. And about a startup culture in Nepal, a lot of youngsters have started from 18, 19. They've actually started doing something called startup. Let's start up something. They right after high school, or even during high school, they have some idea, and let's work on it.
That's the driving factor, let's say. And that was a similar situation like 14 years ago. Still, there are people like that here, but then there's a lot of support system. There's so many VCs out there, or like these seed funding or incubated programs and accelerators. They're starting in Nepal. So we want to see and compare this article when he wrote it, what kind of mind state he was in, and then we want to compare this to
the current situation in
Nepal, because if you learn from like mistakes or lessons from the past of wise masters, you get to excel a lot and you don't make the same mistakes, which is the first lesson of this essay, which is titled The Arctic Phase. So if you're at this stage, we've given the link below. You can follow us through what we're talking about. Just pause this video and just go read it, and you might not need to come back and like listen to our video, but we'd like you to. But then this first part of his essay, when he starts talking about how there are young people like Google and Yahoo at the time, and they started their whole business and entrepreneurial thinking when they were really young. And by the time when he was writing this, the scale was sliding even then.
It was coming downwards.
Yeah.
Younger and younger people were getting more into startups.
Yeah, and it wasn't a new thing in US at that time, because Apple and Microsoft's companies were started by youngsters by the standards of those times. Were already giants by 2005. They were post internet bubble, and they were pre-market for the global, what was a recession? So it was 2007 and 8. So this was a special slice of time. And if he were to revise this again at this time, whoever wrote this, Paul Graham, we'd get a different perspective. But then now it's a little bit different. So he talks about having 227 applications for the first Y Combinator program. Now the number of applications is
probably
thousands, in the thousands. So now he saw this trend on his third paragraph of this essay. He talks about there's a third trend. So there's promising people with promising ideas. There's unpromising people with unpromising ideas, and then there's the third one with promising people with unpromising ideas.
Yes.
So he talks about that a lot, and that's why the essay is titled "Why Smart People Have Bad